Well, good evening, greetings, and salutations. This is Passionate Bliss, and I'm here again tonight with questions, comments, and useless facts about what's going on tonight. In particular, I'm here to talk about the slap heard round the world. I was hoping I wasn't going to have to talk about this, but apparently it's gone on and on so long that I do. And I made a video because it seems like I'm the only black woman that has the opinion that I have. So let's talk about it. What happened? In case you've been living under a rock, you did not know that 2 days ago at the Oscars, the night he was supposed to accept an Oscar, Will Smith slapped the taste, the spit, and fire out of Chris Rock. And this was captured for all the world to see. And they have seen it over and over again. And I'll show it to you again. Take a look.
Jada, I love you. G.I. Jane 2, can't wait to see it. All right? That was a nice one. Okay. I'm out here. Richard. Oh, wow. Wow. Will Smith just smacked the shit out of me.
Keep my wife's name out your fucking mouth.
Wow, dude.
Yeah.
It was a G.I. Jane joke.
Keep my wife's name out your fucking mouth.
I'm going to, okay? Okay. That was a greatest night in the history.
Okay, y'all, in case y'all do not know, that is not normal. That is not normal behavior. You're witnessing a man who snapped. Because this night at the Oscars is one of the most prestigious events that an actor can get. They all want an Oscar. And he was set up to get one. He was definitely going to get one. He did his time. He got good roles. And he was going to get his Oscar. He was going to be celebrated his whole career with the achievement, finally, of an Oscar. But on that night, he lost control of his emotions. And he went up to the stage and he assaulted a man in front of all of us, okay? And so while I was shocked, and I assumed that the whole rest of the world was going to be shocked and appalled, because even that night I said, hey, I'd have had him in jail before the night was over and in civil suit court before the week was out. So I'm thinking that people are going to be outraged and condemn his behavior. No. Instead, the internet is divided to the point where I actually had to come and say something because nobody was apparently thinking like I was. Maybe I'm the only one who's still sane. That could be the case. So this is what I saw on the internet. I saw that black men were calling him a simp because she's a cheater and she does not deserve to be defended. And then also they were saying, you don't fight over a woman, bros before hoes, all this other stuff. That's what the general consensus from black men was. She didn't deserve defending, okay? And the whites, they were, of course, saying that violence is never the answer. But, that was an act of violence. He assaulted a man, and he could have really hurt him, etc., so on and so forth. And black women were sitting up here chapping, clapping, and cheering like a pack of walruses or sea lions, giving their full applause for Will Smith, saying that he was protecting a black woman. Black women need to be protected. Now, I get that black women are unprotected because we are. And in all honesty, we're most in danger from black men, okay? The black femicide rate, a black woman is killed every 5.5 hours, primarily at the hands of black men, okay? So I get that black women do want to feel protected by black men, but we're just not. And apparently, we're in such need of a feeling that black men will protect us instead of kill us every 5 hours, that we're willing to pretend that an act of violence against another person is protection. Okay? This is not protection. This is not protection. And that was the very definition of violence. Now, these are some of the things that I've heard. Matter of fact, this is something that was said to me on one of the platforms that I frequent, and I'm fond of her, as a content creator. She does the Black women empowerment. She does the woman sphere type angle on things, mostly Black women empowerment. And they actually want black men to be accountable for their behaviors. And so, and they want to hold them accountable. And one of the things that they list as a part of black male pathology is violence and a lack of controlling their emotions. And you can see it a great deal. If you ever look at the cases where black women are harmed by black men, it's because of violence and a lack of control over their emotions. Something that should not have ended in violence did. Okay, now these people condemn them. They go from platform to platform condemning these men for violence against them and not controlling their anger. But now these same women are standing up applauding him, saying he did what he should have done. I agree with him. He was protecting his wife. Okay, this was not protection. His wife was never in danger. Okay, Chris Rock did not threaten Jada. Chris Rock did not touch Jada. He didn't touch Will. He didn't threaten Will. Neither one of them was ever in danger. There was no need for violence to have ever taken place. There was no danger. So he was not protecting her. It wasn't about protection. It was about a lot of things. And I may never know what it was all about, but it was not about protecting his wife. She wasn't in danger. Somebody hurt her feelings. That's what happens. And if you're over the age of 10, you shouldn't be fighting to solve your problems. Now, when we were 10, it was okay to fight somebody because they talked about your mama. Okay. That was a legit reason. When you're 10, everybody would have been in agreement. Oh, well, he shouldn't have talked about his mama. Because we're 10. Will is over 50. So if you're over the age of 10 and you're solving your problems by fighting, there's something wrong with you. Mentally, emotionally, something is wrong with you. And that's why I said there was something wrong with Will. I don't know what's going on with him. He's had a lot of bad publicity the last couple of years about his personal life. They tell too much of their personal business to people at that red table. So he's gotten a lot of backlash from it. Maybe that was his breaking point. I don't know. But it was not about protecting his wife. Okay? And the fact that we're calling it protection is why people don't take black women seriously. It's why they don't care that the black femicide rate is 5.5 hours, one of us gets killed. That's why nobody cares. They don't take us seriously because we show that we don't take violence seriously. When you stand up here and applaud for somebody displaying the exact same violence against another person that is activated against black women, you show people that you don't really care about the violence if you like the reason. He was defending his wife, so that's a good enough reason for him to go be violent to somebody who was not violent to him. Now, there is a time and a place for violence because I'm not a pacifist. Okay, if he'd have threatened Will or Jada, if he'd have put hands on Will or Jada, then I could see violence. Okay, if we're at war, somebody said, this is a violent world we live in. They're at war right now in 2 countries overseas. That doesn't make it okay. That's the time for violence. If somebody invades your homeland, that's the time for violence. There's a time for violence. If you're threatened, those people in over there were threatened. Russia threatened some people. They fought back. That's the time for violence when you're threatened. Nobody was threatened at the awards. Okay? He was not protecting her. He was acting out in violence. He had a lack of control of his emotions. Something is wrong with him. Okay? And we need to accept that. And then what else were people were saying? One woman, she told me, that isn't violence. A slap. She said that was just a slap. A slap isn't violence. And I was like, excuse me? A slap is not violence. So let's look up the definition of violence. Okay. Behavior, because apparently we don't know that being slapped in the face is violence. So this is the definition. Behavior involving physical force intended to hurt. Is an open hand slap intended to hurt? I think it is. Damage or kill someone or something. That's violence. Will committed an act of violence, a crime against Chris Rock. Okay, that is violence. And maybe that's the reason why the domestic violence and the black femicide rate is so high, because we have black women walking around that don't know what violence is. Okay, violence is this: somebody intending to hurt you with their behavior, physically, using force. Okay, so that was violence. It was an act of violence for those of y'all who don't know what violence is. Okay, another thing the person said to me was, this is how men handle things. Men aren't going to use a dynamic. The problem is that we as women don't understand how men interact. And we may not agree with how they interact. This is how men respond to each other with violence. Okay, we want them to respond like women would respond. But these are men. So basically, you're telling me that men have no control over their emotions, in general, all of them, because they said they felt like a white person or anybody else would have done the same thing in the audience. Okay, I disagree. However, there were plenty of black people in the audience who wouldn't have done that because nothing is wrong with them. Something is wrong with Will right now. He needs to see a doctor and get a pill or something because his reaction was way out of proportion to what went on. Something else is going on with Will. I don't know what it is. I don't really care. But I need for us to know that that was violence. Okay, that was not protecting your wife because she wasn't in danger. Okay, her feelings were hurt. Okay, and they're going to tell me that this is how men handle things. Only toxic men handle things that way. Men who can't control their emotions handle things that way. Men who are violent handle things that way. Okay, and we as women need to learn to identify when a violent man is there. Okay, but apparently it seems we're okay with the violence as long as it's not at us. Yay if he's violent to a man in the street. Boo if he slaps you in the mouth because he doesn't like what you say at home. Okay, so this is why nobody takes us seriously and our cries about the black femicide rate, because we don't take it seriously. We're going to excuse him today and then crucify him tomorrow. We make no sense, and that's why people ignore us when we talk about the black femicide rate, just so you know. Okay, and what else did somebody say to me? They said they said to me, the reason that you think that this is violence is because as black women, we don't know what it looks like to be protected. So that's why it's not really violence. I'm not able to recognize it because as a black woman, I've never been protected by a black man. And so that's why I didn't recognize it as protection. Okay, first of all, the lady didn't know me. I've been protected all my life. I've been sheltered. I grew up sheltered completely by my father. Okay, who's been married to my mother for 55 years this year. I had a 2-parent home, and both of them was always in my face and always in my business. I've always been protected. Okay, and even in my dating life, I've always felt safe and protected in the company of men. Some boyfriends I had would not allow me to walk on the outside of the street of the sidewalk. They wouldn't let me walk on the sidewalk. And I asked him why one time. Does he always change? Because I'm right-handed. I wanted to hold his right hand. But my right hand. He said, no, I need to be there in case something comes in from the street. So that's the kind of protection I'm used to. And nobody got slapped in the process. So you telling me that I don't recognize protection is ridiculous. Because you want to label violence as protection. You are so desperate to believe that black men will protect you that you're willing to label violence as protection. And that's why nobody takes us seriously. Okay? This was a lot of things, but it wasn't protection. Okay? What was this? This was, number one, it was violent black male pathology. Solving your problems with violence. That's what it was. Number two, what was it? Was toxic masculinity. That's what it was. Okay? This was also bullying. I think it was bullying because I believe that Will would have managed to control his anger if it had been Jerry Seinfeld standing up there. If it was a white man on that stage, Will would have stayed in his seat and would have chuckled from beginning to end until he got his Oscar without the disgrace. Okay? Also, I believe if it was Dave Chappelle standing up there, he would have stayed in his seat and not said a word. If it was, Steve Harvey up there, a man his height and size, okay, maybe equal strength, I think he would have stayed right in his seat. But because it was Chris Rock, okay, someone who is smaller, younger, might not have the hands like that, had less money and power in Hollywood than him, so he felt okay to go up there and assault and humiliate him while he was doing his job. The man was at work. It's his job to pick on people in the audience. Always has been. Sometimes they go too far, sometimes they don't. Now, was the joke below the belt? Yes, it was. Do I know what it's like to feel like that you want to beat somebody down because they hurt your family members' feelings? I've done quite a bit because my family members were hurt in the past. But I didn't slap anybody. And I made a lot of people very uncomfortable. But I didn't slap a soul because I escalate appropriately. What's appropriate? If Will had sat in his seat and holler like he did at the end, keep my wife's name out your effing mouth, I would have been okay with that. If he'd hollered from his seat and didn't get up. I would have been okay if Will had gotten up, walked up on the stage and said, listen, my wife's hair is short because of a condition. You will apologize to her now. I would have been okay with that. And quiet as it's kept, on the low, I might would have been okay with a slap backstage or at the after party, where you didn't humiliate yourself and show a total lack of control in front of everybody. Because men do sometimes just duke it out. That is how they solve the problem sometimes. But it shouldn't be all the time, and it shouldn't be past the age of 50 that you're duking it out. But you know, things happen. Maybe Will had too much champagne before the Oscars. I don't know. Maybe he had a little crack. You never know. But I feel like a lot of that was going on. I think he was also tired of people clowning him and his wife. He didn't want no more slip-ups. I believe that there will be no more slip-ups. Okay? But you also damaged your reputation. And on a night that should have been the most prestigious night in his career, it was overshadowed by his behavior. The whole event was the first time that it had been produced by a black man. It was the first time that a deaf man won. Was Latino wins, was female black women wins. There were lots of wins that should have been talked about. That should have been the chatter. But instead, everybody was chattering about the slap heard around the world. So he humiliated himself. And he embarrassed Chris Rock, who was the consummate professional. Because I don't care if he would have beat me down on that stage, I wouldn't have let you slap me in front of 1 million and more people on the TV. I'm sorry. I would have jumped him. I might would have waited till he turned his back, but I would have jumped Will Smith. We would have fought at the Oscars. That's what the headline would have been. 2 black men fighting at the Oscars. That's what it would have said if that was me. And then I would have pressed charges and filed a suit. And so, you know, a lot of things could have went differently. But Chris Rock was the consummate professional. He took the slap like a champ. He made a couple of jokes about it, and he went on as if it didn't happen, okay? And he refused to press charges afterwards. So, you know, a lot of things could have went differently, but they didn't. And a lot of things I would have accepted. Should he have protected his wife? Absolutely. I would have stopped the Oscars too and made him apologize to my wife. But I wouldn't go slapping nobody because I'm not violent. You know, why do we always have to be violent? You know, and then the thing is that she complained, you know, a couple of years before that it was so whitewashed. Well, maybe they don't want people slapping one another on the stage. Maybe that's why it was whitewashed a few years ago. Nobody black won. Okay. And the thing is that you want to complain that, oh, we're being discriminated against. Trump won't rent houses to us. This one won't let us in their condominiums. We weren't allowed in the restaurant. They treated us bad. They didn't serve us at the restaurant. They wouldn't let us come to the resort or the country club because they think you're going to slap people as soon as you don't like what they say. Okay? And do I care what white people think about my behavior? No, I don't. Do I need them to approve me? No, I don't. But I do like to go to nice restaurants from time to time. I can afford it and I want to go. Okay? And do black people own these restaurants? Not hardly. So we need the white people to let us in the restaurant. We need them to let us stay at the hotel. We need them to let us come on the resort, the villa, because we can afford it and we want to go. And they don't need to think that we're going to slap everybody that we don't like what they say. So yeah, he affected black people's image too. Yeah, after his lifelong career of being a good guy, a great guy. For some reason, he lost it, you know. And I know the lady's got alopecia, and it was her health, and he probably was the one crying with her in the bed every night when her hair came out bit by bit. I get that. And so I would have understood if he had interrupted and caused a scene, but not slapped the man. No. He was doing the most. He did too much. And it still wasn't enough. Okay. Let me see. Was there anything else I wanted to say about it? I don't think so. I think I said everything. What do you have to say? comment down below. And with that being said, y'all have sweet dreams. Wait to find them all real.